Welcome to the Mindset Lady. In the first part of this series, we talked about Barnett, and in this one, I'm going to talk about Damien. If you watch Love is Blind on Netflix, you know these characters. If you don't know, and if you want to watch it in the future, please don't watch this video because there will be so many spoilers. Go watch the series and come back. This is AJ. I'm a mindset coach, and I try to talk about the basics of psychology, human psychology and mindset by using examples from Love is Blind, a Netflix reality series. I am not a clinical psychologist or psychiatrist, so I'm not diagnosing anybody here. I don't know their stories, definitely don't know their families or their history. My whole purpose is to provide you some self-guidance and getting a basic understanding of how mindset works, self-sabotaging behavior works, and how we can improve ourselves. So we are looking at the insecurities or worries of men in season 1 of Love is Blind. And I talked about Barnett, and this one is about Damien.
I'm Damien Powers, and I'm 27 years old.
Damien is a general manager. We talked about Damien in Janina's episode. Here, I'm more focused on Damien and his behavior than Janina.
I got picked on a lot in school too. I got made fun of. I was tiny, I was small, I was quirky and weird, I guess. And it really took years, after high school to figure out who I am and what kind of man I wanted to become.
He said I was picked on at school too, and I was weird, quirky, and I was small. And what I see in Damien, like he's working out a lot. I think by keeping his body fit is trying to show the world that, look, I'm not small anymore, I'm pretty fit. And at the same time, in school, we got picked on a lot. All of us. I mean, I don't know you, but I was picked on in primary school. There was this guy kept bullying me. I didn't even know why. At least he knows the reason. And this kind of behavior, being picked on, definitely creates some insecurities in our childhood. And let's not forget, he said weird. I was weird and quirky. If you're an introvert child, it is easy to feel alienated because when we are small, the world seems like they're grouping with each other. There are so many groups that I don't get involved in, and I kept wondering why they are not taking me in. So this is how childhood works, to try to belong to somewhere somehow. On their 5th date or so, Damien opens up to Janina, and let's see what he says.
After our talk yesterday, I went to bed thinking about you, and then I woke up and you were the first thing I thought of this morning. It's scary to have this amount of emotions so fast, and it's not like me. I don't get attached quick.
I don't get attached quick. There are different attachment styles, guys. So we're gonna talk about this in another video together, but there is secure attachment type, there is anxious attachment type, and then there is avoidance type of attachment. If you're in the avoidance spectrum, which is not very common, actually, I would say 10% of the world had this kind of attachment type, then you might find it hard to make secure attachment with others, with your partners. Maybe he is one of those types, or maybe he's the one that takes his time to really evaluate everything and make sure that the person is the one, and then he kind of creates a bond. We don't know. I'm just right now taking a guess. I guess we will figure it out in a few episodes. Then Janina confesses that she has a problem. She self-sabotages. After she confessed this to him, he responds as like, I know, you don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt either.
There's always that fear of losing her, and it's a scary thing, but I feel like right now we've built such a strong bond that I'm willing to stay here to find out she is my true love.
The way he sits down on the couch is very self-confident, guys. You never feel that he's feeling insecure or he's feeling defensive about this relationship. He's definitely feeling confident in that moment.
The first time in my life, I know what I want. I want her. It scares the shit out of me.
When you're in love, it's scary, right? It's something it's powerful. As guys, we're taught that we are supposed to be in control. And for this, you're not.
I think when it comes to men, there are two things that they find it really difficult getting vulnerable themselves and handling their partner's vulnerable moments, because I think they are overthinking in the second scenario. And the first scenario, it's such a alien feeling to them because they were taught not to become vulnerable, and that's a bad thing because they have never experienced it. It's very hard to get into that in their committed relationships. And the second one, dealing with some others' vulnerabilities, is just they might find it hard to navigate because they always ignored it. They always ignored being vulnerable. So once they're facing with it, they might not know what to do. It's like facing a monster with no weapons on you. They tend to go into quickly problem-solving position, and sometimes the partners don't want a solution. They just want to be heard. They just want to be listened when they become vulnerable. And if you can do that, you are already winning, my friend. So far, what do we know about Damien? He feels strongly about Janina. He got picked on at school because people were thinking he was weird, quirky, and small. He has fears about losing Janina, but for now, this is the only thing we know. But in episode 3, he reveals more. Let's see.
I have insecurities when it comes to how I look. What will she think of me?
I have insecurities about how I look. It might come from, again, guys, that bullying from childhood. And that's why he dresses up neatly, and also he's quite fit, and he's taking care of his hair, his beard very well. When we care too much about what others think about how we look, we try to look as perfect as possible. By the way, Janina doesn't have any worries about if he's gonna like her or not because she's confident in her look. When the door opens, it's like this, as if he wants to disappear in between his shoulders. This is something we do when we feel insecure, and this is why his walk in the beginning looks like a RoboCop, because he cannot let those muscles go, and this is why he looks rigid. But at the end, when he sees that she really likes him, he loosens up.
It's beautiful. It's so different, and I love different because different is beautiful.
Different is beautiful made me think that maybe he always felt like he was different, and now he found someone like him who's different and who made it, who looks pretty, who is successful, who's loving and caring. When we don't feel enough, guys, when we have the insecurity of not feeling enough, what we do is either we overcompensate and try to be the best in the class, best in the school, best at the gym, or if we don't do that, we try to find a partner that will complete us the best way. Or we can do both, actually, who is coming from maybe same roots and same challenges, and who made it, so that we can prove to the world that, hey, you blamed me for not being enough, but finally I'm enough because that partner completes me. This is why we find partners that complete us in our most weak parts. Maybe you're an introverted person and you always wanted to have a better communication with people, and you marry someone who is completely extroverted, who has great relationship with others. It doesn't make you more extroverted, but you kind of accomplish that aim in your life by marrying someone like that. It's an interesting concept to understand, but that's how it works. The mentality works this way when we are looking for a partner, but even though when we are with that partner, our insecurities continue. We need to fix it ourselves. Others cannot fix it for us.
I hope she's going back thinking, wow, he is a handsome man.
I hope she's going back home thinking that he's a handsome man. He's still worried about his looks. The affirmation when they first met, that was not enough for him. How would it be enough? Because you still have the insecurity. The insecurity doesn't go away even though you hear the best compliments. We will see this in Shane example from season 2, but not yet. It's coming, guys. I'm working on it. Also, while he's saying these things, he's always eye blocking. He's looking somewhere else. We do eye blocking when we feel uncomfortable about what we're talking about, or when we get anxious. when we lie, but I'm not saying he's lying because lie comes with all the cluster of other body language stuff. Here, what I see is like this eye blocking makes me think that he almost feels that he doesn't deserve her, because when she's like, oh my god, she's gorgeous, he's not saying like she's gorgeous, she's like, oh my god, she's gorgeous. Like, you know, the eye blocking makes me feel like he doesn't feel like he deserves her. On honeymoon, they have a little fight because Janina asks, how are you feeling? And he's like, this feels really good. I like to escape from reality. And Janina goes like, escape from what? And it's like, you know, work, life, drama. It's like, what drama? And there, Janina goes like on and on again, try to get an answer, and none of the answers that Damien gives kind of satisfies her. So that's a little bit of an argument. And at night, when they get together, they are more calm and they can talk to each other, more adult to adult ego state with the transaction analysis. You remember? If you don't remember it, please go watch this episode here. But what I'm more interested in here is the after talk. And what Damien says there, very important.
It's hard for me to want to get into like deep conversations in the middle of something. And for you, that's easier, but me, I'm not used to that.
Well, this might be true for a lot of people, you know. Sometimes we are just enjoying the moment. We are, let's say, at a party having fun, and suddenly our partner wants to go deep. I was like, wait a minute, this is not the right time. That I don't feel like I can go deep right now. It's almost like forcing someone to therapy who doesn't want to go to therapy. Like, no, you're gonna sit down and take it. It's like, or forcing down a food that they say that I'm full, like I can't eat right now. You're just forcing down their throat, like, no, you're gonna eat now. It is important for you to wait till your partner is ready to talk. But if your partner keeps running from talking all the time, then that's an issue that you need to raise.
When I'm backed into a wall, sometimes I put up this block trying to not let anybody see the emotional side of Damien, but I just need to be willing to open up more and let her help with it.
I put a block so that nobody sees that emotional Damien. This is what I'm saying, guys. I see this in the United States a lot, the culture-wise. I don't know if you know, I'm not original from here. Probably you can tell from my accent. I grew up in Turkey. In our culture, I feel like we are more open about our emotions. Whereas when I come to the more Western culture, like United States, I feel like people say, I'm okay, but actually they are suffering. In America, I see a lot of kind people, a lot of loving people try to go through the day, you know, they have children, they have work to do, they have other stuff to deal with, and they always put a happy face. But they're always running, and they're suffering, and they're not getting help because they want to look strong. And in the end, what happens that it ends up with anxiety pills and other things. By the way, I'm not comparing with my country because a lot of people in my country need therapy, especially right now. But what I'm trying to say is showing emotion in some cultures is less accepted, especially with men. I remember this with Carlton. He was saying, like, as a black man, I'm not supposed to show my emotions. I'm not supposed to get vulnerable. And this is true for a lot of men, white, black or brown, actually doesn't matter. They need to look strong. They shouldn't get vulnerable. This is what we saw with Barnett episode, right? Like, he was so afraid to get vulnerable and showing emotions. And this is what we see with Damien as well. Like, I put that block. I don't let people in, and I think I should let her help with this. That's beautiful way to say it. You need to accept help. You need to be able to tell your partner that, hey, I'm not feeling okay. And that comes with saying I'm sorry. If you have a partner who is having difficulty saying I'm sorry, but he shows it in different ways, again, this is coming from the same problem. They are so afraid to be vulnerable because once they say I'm sorry, they are accepting that they are flawed. And inside of their head, they know that they're flawed so well that accepting it will make it worse because now you can see it. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable with your partners. This is how you bond a strong relationship. But this doesn't mean that you need to let your wall down to everyone around you. No. We're just talking about partners here. Let's move on.
But I also expected to be able to provide. I have a good career, I have a good job, and I sacrificed that coming here.
Here, he also talks about a common man problem.
It scares me not to be able to give you what you deserve and to not like to get a place and to possibly lose my job. All that scares me. I've always planned to be a solid rock for my family. I want to make sure my wife and future kids and everything are taken care of.
The pressure of providing for the family. I am used to the pressure of society on women, like, you know, you should be home by 9, you shouldn't wear that short dress, or you need to be extra careful when you go out in the dark, those kind of things. I'm very familiar with that. But when it comes to men, it's hard for me to empathize because I've never grown up as a man. But here what I see, the pressure of the society about providing for the family. You need to get a job, get a house, get a car. You need to provide for your family, even though your partner is an independent woman who is strong, who makes their own money, doesn't matter. Still, men to this day feel that pressure. It's very real. And I think it's one of the reasons why men feel insecure, because they don't feel complete until they check off every item on the list. You should be able to feel whole and secure even though you don't have a penny. I know this is very difficult, but once you manage that, then the whole money situation improves quickly anyway. We need to learn that we are enough as the way we are. And once we believe in that, really, we have what it takes, we are hardworking, we're gonna do whatever we can to do in this life, and we have what we need, we are built for this. If we deep down believe in ourselves like that, there is no way that we won't be able to provide.
It's not easy for me to open up. And I try and I fight myself, and I throw excuses in there because I'm not used to somebody caring.
I'm not used to someone who's caring. I have no idea about Damien's family because they didn't show up in the show. He didn't talk about them much. I know that they refused to meet Janina and they didn't come to the wedding. I know this much, but this makes me feel that he didn't have a caring family very much, or especially caring mother. But again, I'm just speculating right now. I know I shouldn't do this, but what I'm trying to show you here, that if you didn't feel cared in your childhood as much, then it will be even more difficult for you to open up to your partner in the future. Think about this. You have a son and your son falls and he starts crying. Don't cry. You're a man. Men don't cry. Do you see the pressure here? How is he going to be able to cry again in front of you if you say that? If crying is something wrong, how is he going to become vulnerable in the future to his partner? If you're a man, your relationship with your mother affects your relationship with your partner. Just look back into your relationship with your mother. How was it? Was it close? Was it caring? Or it was distant? Was she dominant? Did she have a lot of rules? Look at there a little bit. This doesn't mean that she didn't love you guys. Every mother loves their children. I'm almost every mother. So we are not testing love here, okay? It's all about the style of growing up.
Janina has all these wonderful qualities that I've always looked for in a woman. But when we get back to our jobs and family and friends and social media, will it work?
It's interesting how he throws off social media out of nowhere. Because I understand job, friends, family, accepting her or not accepting her, or accepting your relationship. But social media makes me think of the Kelly episode. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe he's afraid of losing her because once they get their phones back, she will be more in touch with other people, and there will be more competitors. And because he's feeling insecure about his look, he's maybe afraid of losing her by just losing her to social media. It's interesting how social media becomes a big threat when we don't feel secure with ourselves. In episode 6, Damien makes an inappropriate joke to Lauren, and Lauren doesn't take it lightly.
Does it feel pretty natural, like living together now? Like, do you feel like it's pretty comfortable?
Adjusting. More so me, because I'm used to being alone.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Lauren's like a roadblock.
Well,
She's like,
fuck you, Damien. I can see that. You being a lonely, bitter hag.
no, I just like...
What is wrong with you? Damien, what?
I want to look at Damien's joke here and how he follows up with that joke. Let's see.
I just like to put a smile on people's faces, and sometimes saying awkward, unconventional things. Yeah. That brings out the best in people.
It does.
And I'm not afraid to do that.
It's great.
First of all, he plays with his ring. That's a pacifier. We play with our rings when we feel anxious or when we want to comfort ourselves. We don't have to be necessarily anxious, but we are comforting ourselves. Like, you know, when we are thinking something, we can do that, or when we are anxious about something, we can do that. And Damien goes like, I can see you being a roadblock. I think Damien meant there, like, I think you're a strong person, you have a strong personality, and between you two, I can guess that you are the one who's creating the problem, which is very wrong to say, I know. And you only say this to your close friend guys, because otherwise it might be taken in a wrong way. Probably Damien sees Lauren as a dominant person in their relationship with Cameron, and that's what he meant. When Lauren reacted, F you, Damien looks at Cameron like, wait, I think, did you understand right? Because that's not what I meant. I think he was misunderstood, but of course the roadblock comment was not necessary, it was not nice. But here, the conversation is still at a point that you can save it. Let's see.
I just like to put a smile on people's faces, and sometimes saying awkward, unconventional things. Yeah. That brings out the best in people.
It's great.
Yeah. Is it sarcastic? You mean that?
No, I totally mean that.
Positive
Stop putting her on the spot.
I try to put smile on people's faces by saying awkward things, which is okay. We all have that awkward friend who makes us feel uncomfortable, and we are used to it. We love him anyways. But again, Lauren is not your best friend, so that's going to work with your friends, but that's not going to work with Lauren. He could have stopped here. That would be perfect, because I think they said like, okay, it was an awkward moment, but whatever. We laughed it off and it's gone. Everybody will forget it in 5 minutes. But he keeps going.
Is it sarcastic? You mean that?
No, I totally mean that.
If you stop that, that would be perfect, but no. He goes like, are you being sarcastic? Did you mean that? Again, look. He's making her uncomfortable. One more time. Lauren said she didn't like that, and he goes like, you know, I do this all the time and I'm proud of it. This is who I am. He does this again. This is disregarding others' needs over your needs, and that's not a good sign, guys. This creates always an awkward social situation. I'm guessing Damien might not have a lot of friends, or he has problem making friends right away, because if he acts like this in social situations with the people who just met or doesn't have deep connections, then this might create awkward moments like these. You need to be able to read others, and this is why he's with Janina, because Janina is almost an empath and she can read the crowd, and that's why she is really annoyed here. She realizes the tension and she wants him to stop making people feel uncomfortable.
You pull me off and talk to me. You don't make a scene about walking off. Janina is the love of my life. We've built such a strong connection, and I'm scared of losing that.
Scared of losing her. This tells me that he has the anxious type of attachment style. Damien is so afraid to lose Janina. But also, he is sometimes awkward in social situations. And this was the first time Janina realized that, and she's giving her first reaction by walking off, and he's so afraid that she's going to leave him, he overreacts. You're bringing me down, you're making a scene by leaving, and you cannot speak for your friend. Maybe Lauren was not that annoyed, which she was annoyed. Maybe all saw that. How come you don't see that, Damien? What I see here is like he's so afraid that she's not going to accept him with all his flaws. That's why this fight is happening right now. This is Damien's fight. This is caused by Damien. And also, during this relationship, I see sometimes Damien gaslighting.
When things are too good, when things are comfortable, you self-sabotage, as you always say, and you don't care what you destruct in the process. You don't care if you bring me down.
Men usually do gaslighting when they feel insecure inside. So watch out for gaslighting behavior, guys. If you see that, that's about the person's insecurities, their own insecurities. One example was here. He was saying like, oh, you walked off, and people are asking now, what's wrong with her?
You said I made things awkward, but all of them were sitting there like, what just happened with her?
You know, nobody was asking that question in the first place. In episode 12, after 2 years from the altar, after Damien said no to Janina, they continued dating. In episode 12, we see that at the party, he brings a friend called Francesca, which he clearly was more than friends. They were very close. They were flirting with each other.
Hi, beautiful.
Hey, Keepai.
I found it very inappropriate, if you ask me, if they are still together with Janina and if they are exclusively together. He talks about Porsche kind of representing him, liking sexy. We know from the very beginning he cares what people think about him, and you know, Porsche is not a very modest car, and it's fast, it's sexy, it's strong. So I guess that's how he wants to be, or how he wants to be perceived as. But then at the gym, he mentions his friends that he wants to have kids as soon as possible. He wants to start a family. So there are very confusing messages coming from Damien to me. He says, Francesca flirting with me makes me feel special, makes me feel confident, and makes me feel good.
Francesca flirting with me, like, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel confident and special.
He sounds like a guy who's having a midlife crisis. If flirting with her makes you feel this good and confident, why are you still with Janina? What we see from his face and his mimic, when he's talking about Francesca, he's very happy, he feels like excited.
But she's also like calm, and she talks to you, and she asks a lot of questions, but she also listens well.
But when he talks about Janina, he says that, you know, she yells, she doesn't listen, Francesca listens to me.
On the other hand, is Janina is spicy, she's very forward, she's very, if she wants to, she's gonna speak her mind or yell her mind. I mean, it's like she'll just yell. That's how she communicates a lot of times when she gets angry.
She asks me questions. Well, if people are asking you questions, that means they are good listeners, right? Like, I think that's what's missing in their relationship. I can see from here that there's not much improvement, and I think the relationship is burning out. And in the end, what happens that he brings Francesca to the party. Janina is like, what's wrong with you? Why do you bring her here? And he says like, you know, she's just my friend and I'm bringing her here. But Janina is not stupid, so she says that this is unacceptable. I cannot believe you did this, and they break up there. Would you like my opinion on that? I think some people find it very difficult to end their relationship, especially if they are anxious type in terms of attachment. So I think he knew already that it was finished between G and him long time ago, but he couldn't let it go. And he knew bringing her, Francesca, to this party will cause G to break up with him. It was going to end things for good. And this is why he did something like this, because he didn't have the courage to do it himself. Unfortunately, this is something we commonly see. If you cannot break up, you create a reason so that your partner breaks up with you. It's a cowardly way, I would say, but you know, we don't have to be always courageous anyway. I'm just proud of Damien in this. I'm not saying I'm proud of Damien or what he did. Obviously, it was inappropriate to bring her there. But what I'm saying is I am proud of Damien because he learned in the process the importance of being vulnerable and confronting each other. If you haven't seen Barnett episode, it's right here. Or if you want to know more about Damien and G, it's right here. You choose. I'll see you later. Bye.